An interpretation of literature, also known as an interp, is a unique speech because rather than communicating directly with the judge, you get to communicate with them through a character or a number of characters. In this video today, we're going to be talking about finding a piece, cutting that piece, and then how you block that piece that you've cut. And we'll go and discuss what those terms mean later on in this video. The first step to any good interp is to actually find the piece that you're going to be using for the rest of the year. And there's three major things that you need to keep in mind while you're looking for a piece. First, determine what kind of message you want to portray. So whether or not you want to have a funny piece or a dramatic piece, whether or not it's going to be heartwarming, or you're just giving it to make the judges laugh, all needs to be in the forefront of your mind when you're picking a piece. Second, you need to brainstorm what type of character you're looking to portray. Whether or not you want your character to be old or young, male or female, all of that needs to play into what type of piece you pick. Often, if you're a female, you'll want to pick a piece that has a little bit more of a girl-oriented role, and vice versa for men. After you've gone through the process of picking your piece, you then need to determine what part of that piece you're wishing to play. You can do this a couple of ways. You can either do the whole piece from cover to cover, or you can just pick a subplot of that piece and choose to portray that. You can also pick one scene within your piece where a character has a lot of development or a lot is happening in that scene. After you find your piece, you need to move on to the second step of any good interp, which is cutting your piece. Now, cutting is essentially where you take the information you don't want and throw it away, and then combine all the information you want to portray in your script. Today I'm using The Day the Crowns Quit by Drew Daywalt, and we're going to be looking at the different ways we can cut this book. There's 4 different steps we'll be covering on how to cut your piece, the first of which is to start with a skeleton. Now with The Day the Crowns Quit, I have 3 different options. First option is I can go cover to cover and do the whole thing in its entirety. Secondly, I can pick a subplot, but if I do pick a subplot, I need to make sure to include all crucial information to that subplot. The final option, which is what we're going to be doing for the sake of demonstration in this video, is to pick one major scene and choose to cut that. Our second step under cutting a piece is to eliminate peripheral information. To demonstrate this, I first photocopied this page of the book, and we're going to be using that to mark what we don't want to say in our piece. So, the things that we're looking to eliminate is first descriptions of scenery. Those are unnecessary as you'll be acting them out. We also need to eliminate he said, she saids, and finally, unimportant parts of a conversation or things that aren't really relevant to your storyline. The third part is consolidating source material because you do have a time limit that you need to fit under. Under this, you can merge characters, so take one character and combine him or her with another character. You can change names or pronouns. And finally, you can repeat source material. So if you want to say a certain word multiple times, feel free to do that. The fourth and final step to cutting your piece is taking everything you've marked in your book and putting it onto a double-spaced script format. The third and final step to any good interp is to block your piece. Now, blocking sounds like a really funny word, but all it is the movement or the actions that you're incorporating into your piece. Think about it like this. What choreography is to dance is what blocking is to any good interpretation speech that you're doing. Under blocking a piece, we're once again going to be talking about 3 different points. The first of which is characterization. Now, all characterization is determining who your character is, what they want, and how they're going to develop throughout the piece. If you remember the example of The Day the Crayons Quit and the gray crayon that we used, in that, later in the story, it went on to talk about how he was tired. So we interpreted that as he was an older man and that he had a walking stick. So that's how he physically showed that he was tired and he was old. In contrast, if you're playing a character like a younger girl, it might be a good idea to have her full of energy and braiding her hair, playing with dolls or a soccer ball or something like that. After you have your characters determined, you then get to move on to building each individual scene. Now, in NCFCA, you're not allowed to bring props into your room. This means that you have to become your own props or mimic your own props. So for example, if you're drinking, you'll use a cup and you can hold it like this and take a sip. If you're sitting relaxing, you can open a newspaper like that. Or if you're getting ready, you can be putting on your lipstick like that. So everything you do, you'll be using your imagination and creating it yourself. The final point of blocking is consistency. And this is something that even experienced interpreters struggle with sometimes. Now, a lot of times it's really easy for us to be holding a cup and then just forget that it's there and keep talking. But that's really distracting to the judge because oftentimes they'll notice that you dropped your cup. A classic example of this is when someone is interpreting that they're holding a baby, but they keep talking, and as they're talking, the baby just kind of slowly disappears, and everyone's wondering where the baby went. So make sure that with your blocking, you're consistently remembering the blocking that you've had before and where you've placed different things in your imaginary interp room so you don't forget and you don't distract the judge by dropping the baby. We've covered a lot of material today and you've hung with us this far, so now what we're going to do is show you what this looks like as a finished product.
Dear Duncan, I know you love elephants and I know elephants are grey, but that's a lot of space to colour in all by myself. And don't even get me started on those rhinos and hippos and humpback whales. Do you know how tired I am after colouring one of those? You know, baby penguins are grey, so are very tiny rocks. Pebbles. How about one of those once in a while to give me a break? Your very tired friend, Grey Cran.
Notice how she really incorporated blocking and characterization to bring that one simple character to life. Today in this overview of interp, we've talked about finding a piece, cutting a piece, and blocking a piece. So now you guys have a launch pad to go and get started on your own interp.